back to Sources of Magic YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us. I wanted to talk today about spiritual message and how spirits communicate to us. So the first thing about spiritual connection and communication is being within your body, being within your mind and your soul, enough to know where you are and where your soul is and where your external influences are. So that's where things like meditation, connection to self, clearing, all of the energy work that we do, that's where that comes in. So the more you do your meditations, the more you do your practices, the quicker you can access that information and the soul inside. So the light, the angelic message, your higher power guide, things like that. With messages, I want to talk about how listening to them and not listening to them affects your life. So having done energy work for over 2 decades, I'm at a point now where I am able to connect quite quickly and able to interpret kind of the smaller messages quickly. And the depth of where they want to go is lessened. So learning of all of this stuff is why I wanted to document it and send it out to the world, so that when you get into a situation where the interpretation is difficult, you've got somewhere to go. Okay, I want to talk about this pendulum here. This is the following spiritual message and not following spiritual message result. All right, now this pendulum here I had purchased a long time ago, 10 years ago, maybe a long time ago, and it's beautiful. I really enjoyed it. It has the chakras on it, and it also has a beautiful quartz, and so just a lovely pendulum. I didn't know why I was buying it because I don't normally go for the chakra colors. I don't normally buy things with that on there for me personally, but I did. So recently I had a new client come to me, and as I was preparing for their reading, this pendulum spoke up and wanted to be used in the reading. And I thought, oh, okay, that's different. I haven't used you almost since I got you. I got it and it became kind of a show decoration. So I thought, perfect, come on aboard, let's use you. So we had done the reading with the pendulum, and it was happy and powerful, and I could feel its energy, and it was filtering a lot for this person, bringing a lot of trauma out, and just, you know, helping to kind of ooze it out a little bit, right? It just knew that the reading was going to be very powerful, and it needed to be present for that. When something like that happens, I do feel sometimes that the pendulums pick the people, and I believe that's what this pendulum had done, is it picked its person. So it waited a very long time to find them. I had asked it if it would like to go to this person, and it was a yes, that it would like to go to that person. And I thought, oh, awesome, like that's wonderful. So there were other items as well that they were gifted in their treatment. And this guy, by the end of the treatment, it was just a powerful treatment, and it ended peacefully and kind of like the rest of the treatments. And then, you know, you walk them out the door, and then I realized, oh shoot, I did not gift her the pendulum. So I thought, okay, I can now call her and say, this pendulum would like to be yours. Would you like to come and pick it up? So I can offer that for her. I came home with the pendulum, and I had hung it up. And as I hung it up, I had the internal message that it was going to break. And I thought, oh dear, if I don't touch it, it won't break. I then a week or two later, I had to get something off of the hanger it was on, and it fell down and it broke. So I would like to connect with this pendulum, and my question to it is, would it still like to be gifted to that client? That's my question to it. So about message, being that me as a human, me as actual Jen, not Reiki Jen, I didn't follow through on the message. I wasn't an advocate for my spiritual message. I just became human again and lived my daily life, which is, you know, me as a person is quite different from Reiki Jen. So that's what happened, is the pendulum broke. So that's not listening to spiritual message. That's what can happen. When, I will ask it in a second if it still would like to go to them. So in that process, when this pendulum had become aware to me that it would like to be in this session with that client, that is called a spiritual whisper. And that is the first step that your guides will talk to you in. Whispers come in things falling or moving around you. If you know, when people are shuffling cards for tarot and one falls out, that's a spiritual whisper, okay? It is something that is acted upon randomly, right? I use this sometimes in a grocery store if I'm putting things in my cart, but it falls out of my hand before I get into the cart, or it falls like I fumble with it and it falls on the ground. I put it back on the shelf because that is a spiritual whisper. They don't want me to consume that. Likewise, if I'm in the grocery store and I'm standing and a box of something falls down or over or to me, I put that in my cart, okay? That's following message, all right? So by me bringing the pendulum with me, I followed message. Now, as I'm preparing and in the room and getting ready, almost before I was in the room, I believe, so going to my room, getting ready for the client, the pendulum had spoken saying it would like to become theirs. And that happens more often than not. That's why I have quite a collection of pendulums, because sometimes they do wish to be gifted to other people. When I gift somebody something like this, what I know will happen in their life is an awakening. An awakening will happen either, one, because they were gifted something, so it is the beginning of their spiritual journey, or while they're on their spiritual journey, they will have an awakening that will help a lot of people, thousands of people, okay? Hundreds, thousands, they will help others because of what they're going through. Okay, let's move on to how angels and your higher power talk to you. So the first stage is they will whisper to you. The next stage is they will talk to you. And talking is just as such. A friend, you will be talking with a friend and they will say something so elated that you will follow that. That will become your new motto. That will become the answer to your question. That will be exactly what you were looking for. You could pick up a book, like a new book you wouldn't have picked up before. You could read something in there and that will enlighten you. That's an angel talking to you. If you have been seeing lots of animals, so if you've been seeing moths are for change, that's kind of a talk and a whisper. That's kind of moving in between. Seeing a moth is a whisper. Having a moth in your home is a talk. Having a moth kind of land on you or touch you, that's a talk. Seeing a migration of moths or butterflies, that would go from the talk to the next stage, which is yelling, okay? So of all three of these levels, there are even levels of each of them, okay? So for my pendulum, having the pendulum actually talk to me in my mind's ear, so the clear audio, having it say it would like to go to that person, that would be the guides and higher power talking to me. Okay? So now we're moving into the next stage, which is yelling. That's when your spiritual guides will yell at you. So yelling looks like being told that this crystal was to be going to someone else, but yet I brought it home, not only because I had, the way the session ended, it just ended so smoothly that I just didn't have it on me and didn't remember till I got home. So regardless, the yelling part was me hanging it on the wall and it talking to me again saying, I will break. I needed to have listened at that moment and put it somewhere else, okay? I needed to either contact the client and say, this pendulum is yours, I'm gonna put it away safely, let's meet up again. I would like to give this to you. Things like that. So the yelling is it falling. That's a yell. So it fell off of its hanger and had broken. So it knew its future, right? Yelling could be, let's go into the animals. Yelling would be car accidents. So if you hit a deer's energy is for gentleness in your life. So it just means to approach cautiously, but approach with spiritual awareness and to be in your space and not in other people's spaces. So that's what a deer means. So if you've gotten into an accident with a deer, it really means to back up and slow down. That's what that means. So that's a yell. If you are physically hurt at work or in life, that's a scream, that's a yell. They want you to stop, they want you to quit, they want you to refocus. It's done. They have intervened, okay? Yelling could be, what else? If it's not physical, so that would be where you feel like doors are not opening, right? You have, like finding soulmates and stuff. A lot of people will find a closed door with that. That could potentially be your spiritual guides yelling at you, saying that we're not looking for your soulmate. We're on a different path that you're not supposed to have any influence or any knowledge or focus or drive to get to. So please stop, okay? That's what they're saying to you. There's other things you need to work on. That's not your end goal. That could potentially be a reward for working on yourself, is finding a soulmate, okay? They don't want you to find your soulmate and be damaged and force it, because then it looks broken, all right? So let's not do that. So that's a yell, okay? Now, there is a belief about everything written in the cards and everything written in the stars, and that you, before you came down to earth, you sat at a large circular table with a whole bunch of heads of emotions and spiritual outlines, and like you sat and recorded your life before you came here. So I do believe in that. I also believe that for whatever purpose or reason you are here, you can potentially change what you have recorded. So you can rewrite into your Akashic record something new, something different. You can take out parts, things like that. When you take out a part from Akashic record, it still exists, it's still there. So that's mastery level in altering your stars. So don't go just removing your Akashic records because you feel like it. So they're gonna yell at you. There are steps and processes to ask if you are allowed, number one, and then you go there with spiritual advisement. You don't go in there alone and destroy somebody's book, okay? So be careful. It does have a meaning. All right. Now, in your whispering, if you have heard the message, so let's say I did hear the message to bring the pendulum, so I brought it, that's great. If I hadn't heard it, what could have happened, right? Would this pendulum, would it have broken when I got home? Potentially. Would it have, sometimes it's really weird, would it have magically shown up at my work? I've seen it. So, okay, so that's listening and not listening. Now the talking, it talked to me and said it would like to be presented and gifted to this person. Had I given it to her, I could see how her current moment would change and alter. So at this moment, when I connect with her, I want to ask her, I apologize, have you felt lost a little bit? Have you felt like something was taken away from you? That could be the feelings she's experiencing. And all because it was just unfortunate that the message was not acted upon. So by me giving this to her, it will reignite that. However, that feeling of loss might be something that we would need to work on again. So before I give it to her, maybe I will work on this pendulum so that it can be together and healed, and that once I give her this, that feeling of loss she may have right now, or whatever emotion she's experiencing, will cease. That the second this is in her hand and she perceives this as ownership of hers, that she is healed from what was taken away. Okay? So that would be my intention giving to her. Now, had I given this to her in the moment, she wouldn't have gone through that. She wouldn't have experienced that. So that's listening and not listening. Okay? And the yelling should be quite obvious. Had I given this to her, it wouldn't be broken right now. Okay? In her hands, if it broke in her hands, then that's something else that we would need to look at, right? Okay? We would need to look at within her soul. Why did it break in her possession? So that would be a whole new spiritual journey if it broke in her possession. Okay? All right. So that would be listening and not listening. Not listening broke it. Listening potentially could have kept it in its full form. All right. So I am going to ask this pendulum. I would like it to show me a yes. So let me start a baseline here. Please show me a yes. Great. And I have a nice counterclockwise circle. So that's a good positive yes. And please show me a no. Okay, so I have up and down, up and down, up and down. Good. My question to you, pendulum, is would you still like to be gifted to the client you asked to go home with? Okay, so the answer is no. Pendulum, I ask you, if I replace your base crystal with a new crystal, would you then like to be gifted to the client that you wanted to be gifted to? I have a backwards yes. If I found an exact replica of you, would you like to be gifted to the client you asked to be gifted to? No. Should I buy, or should on yourself, can I instead buy a pendulum intended for this customer to be gifted to her? There we go. That's a yes. All right. Okay. Now my question to you, pendulum, is would you like any energy work done for you because you were broken? Yes. Okay. Would you, pendulum, like a healing ceremony for yourself? No. Would you, pendulum, like to be put out of commission? Okay, so I have a no, but a different kind of no. No, but a different. So instead of it going kind of off to the side, like, what is that, like 1 to 7, it's now going 12 to 6. Okay, how about, do you have an answer for what you would like your future to be? Yes, no, yes, no. Can I meditate on this? Okay, so it's saying, yes, I can meditate on this, but I already know the answer. My question is, do I just leave you be as you are and carry you around for the next 10 years as a reminder to act on what I'm told to do? No. Okay. In a little easier on myself mode, do I keep you around and just hold a special place for you? No. Do I keep you around? Yes. Oh, no. Okay. Do I use you in a ceremony? Yes. Do I bury you? Yes. Everything that we took from the client that was the trauma, do I bury that with you as well? Yes. Okay. So I have some Akashic work to do with this pendulum. It still wants to be this client's pendulum. I now have the message, so I'm talking with my pendulum, okay, to specifically search out a pendulum for the client, which fun and exciting, yay, shopping and a gift for someone. And then we take the trauma that she's experienced in her life, infuse or link or put together with, connect with this pendulum, because this pendulum was hers. So we connect that so that all of that gray smoky residue from her goes into here, and then we bury this. Okay? My question is, do I dig you back up when you are healed? Oh. Okay, so it's saying yes and no. Yeah, yes and no. So basically, my interpretation of that is that yes, I can pick you up from the ground when you're healed in time, but it is also okay for you to be left in the ground. Yes. Okay. Great. Thank you for your service. I want to thank this pendulum for its service. It is such a heavy pendulum. The power within this stone itself is so heavy. So these, because they are like printed and painted, they're just a pure or a simple quartz. And I mean, they're not valuable. They're not authentic. I apologize, but they mean a lot to me. So this guy keeps saying he's authentic. So that's good. But a lot of these they're just printed. They're a printed quartz stone. They're very light and their energy is light. It's like a piece of paper. It's like a feather. This guy here is like picking up like a lava stone that's wet and heavy, that's been across the earth 4,400,000 years. Like, this guy has life and it has a story. Okay. So for for the pendulum to discuss with me that it will take trauma energy from somebody, it will take all of that gray smoke within them and it will hold it and it will disperse it naturally into the earth for them. That's gorgeous. Like, so that's the difference between authentic and non-authentic. Okay. I think that's everything. Yes. I always say that and then I have more. It's just such an enjoyable energy work that I do. I will talk about the wasps. In the city I'm in, we have had an influx of wasps. So let me tell you the story about this one lady. She had come to see me in the midst of it, and then I had heard the story after. So the wasps had started building a nest, and they had destroyed that nest, right? Because we want to protect our homes, but a wasp also wants to protect its home. Now, a wasp is a warrior. A wasp is they are powerful and they get so focused, right? There's nothing else in their mind other than to get home, get to the queen, that kind of stuff, right? So when a wasp shows up in your life, it is, let's see if our little book has it. It is reminding you to act. It's reminding you that you may or may not have been dormant. Okay, it's not in that book, but that's fine. You may or may not have been dormant on things that you were meant to have been paying attention to. So that's a whisper. For a wasp to build a nest within your area is a whisper. They're telling you to refocus. They're telling you to behave yourself. They're telling you to take your personal needs ahead of others, because you're going to go through something a little difficult in the next coming months. So make sure that you are powered. Make sure you're home, all right? So that you can act appropriately. The wasps came back. They built another nest, and it had stung her in the head. And now the wasp is talking to her, right? So what she was meant to be doing, she had not done. And it came back and talked to her. So it bit her. So I laugh because really, she's fine. She's safe. All is well. Which I know for some people that isn't the case. And I would work with you wholeheartedly if that's not the case for you, okay? So if you have an allergy to it, I would work with you. Then, by being bit, we did a card reading for that, and it had come out that there were opportunities that they were missing in their life, or opportunities and windfalls were supposed to be coming. They were unaware of, I think they couldn't see the opportunities coming. All they could see was that their life was kind of the same, and they were happy and comfortable to keep it the same. That they didn't want to move forward. They didn't want to rock the boat or make changes. They thought that the message of the wasps being near was just not a reminder, showing of warning. So they felt like they were being warned. They were open and aware to that message. However, they did not look at their life. So the warning was just a warning, and they moved forward knowing they were being warned, but did nothing about it, no action about it. So that's when they got bit in the head. So they came for a reading. So now they're bit in the head, and this reading is talking about opportunities and windfalls, and it's talking about this good time, but the life that they were living was just sedentary. There was no movement, there was no life, but it was happy. So everything they were doing kind of had no purpose, if that makes sense of why the wasp would come. Because the wasp is like, come on, like get going, get your butt going. Like there's no stopping a wasp until death, really, right? Or until they've accomplished their mission. So steal from the windfalls, or she got the reading about the windfalls, that there was action needing to be taken, but there was still hesitation, or still that comfort in the sedentary. So there's a lot of effort they needed to do to step out of the box, right? And she was not ready. She was not there. It was a lot of work, and all she could see was the barriers and obstacles, okay? So we left that alone, right? Because a message is a message. The wasp has already whispered and spoken to her, and now she's coming for spiritual advisement. It has spoken to her to say, like, you gotta go forward. You've gotta do some things. This life is fine. However, we've put you on this earth for something a little more specific than just being a homemaker, right? You need to live your creative side. So then a few weeks later, I believe, three or four, almost a month later, we reconnected again to see how's she doing. And the wasp, she was not doing anything to aggravate. She just walked near where they were building, even after efforts of trying to move them. She just walked by. There's not even anything near her, and a wasp bit her in the bum. So if you can't hear or think in your head where I'm gonna bite you, I'm gonna bite you where I want you to actually do some work, which is the butt, get moving. So that is it's not quite a yell, but they're talking very loudly to her. A yell with a wasp would be quite detrimental, where you would be swarmed by them, there would be hospital treatment, so that would be a yell. So she didn't get there, so she's still being talked to. All right, so now she's bit in the butt, her leg is swollen. There was an allergic reaction to this wasp, and now she has no choice but to look at why she's not going forward. how come you're not moving? We've given you the message, how come you're not being yourself? So she had to really sit and think about where to move forward. So where did she go forward from that? She had the leg, got the bit. I believe she went and got herself a vehicle. So she went and purchased a vehicle, and something a little fast and sporty, kind of scared her a little bit. And then from that, she started to visit her friends. So she was no longer boxing herself in. She was ready to unbox, and she was realizing how back she was, like how closed off she was. So now she has an opportunity to travel. She has some trips organized in her brain, and I'm excited because I get to go on one with her. So yay! So that's really cool. So now we get to see what happens for her in her journey. So now that she's unboxed herself, she's out of the sedentary life, we get to see where it takes her. We get to see what part of herself that her spiritual guides were a little bit upset that she was hiding. So we will see what is in store for her. So that is all of the message. Thank you so much, and thank you for our pendulum. What a beautiful story. I am happy to have answers now, and I'm excited to look forward to the next video and what we talk about. Have a wonderful day.